Welcome to the Lessons Learned for Vets podcast page. My name is Norris, and I created this show for you. I want this show to serve as a source of advice and guidance as you navigate the military transition path. I want you to know that you're not alone with what you're going through, and I want you to know that there is only one right way to transition out of the military, and that is the way that you choose to do it. We're just here to help smooth the path ahead of you and advise you about any bumps in the road that you might come across. So if you enjoy this video, please give us a like, subscribe to our page, and I encourage you to go to your favorite podcast provider and listen to the full episode of this show. You can also visit our website at www.ll4forvets.com. I promise you will get some great information. Well, I am excited to record a bonus question with Dr. Destinee Prete. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
So if you haven't heard her full episode, I don't know if we've ever had anybody that has more in-depth research-based knowledge on the military transition process. So you got to go head over and listen to her full episode on the website or on your favorite podcast provider. But she's going to talk to us about something because her and I were talking. We share a common trait. We are both introverts. And we don't necessarily mind networking. We're more like ambiverts, right? But we lean toward the introvert side. So we don't mind networking. We don't mind engaging, but things like, I don't know, what we just did here and recording a podcast or going to an event kind of take a toll on you and you have to recover afterwards, right?
Yes, absolutely. And most people that know me, they're like, Destinee's going to go lay flat for a while, be a couch potato for like 2 days. So yes.
Yep. So your doctorate is in industrial and organizational psychology. And so you probably studied a little bit about how introverts interact in the workplace, in the job search process, in the military transition. So what advice do you have for those of us who are introverts and need to go be flat for 2 days after these kinds of things?
Yeah. And so I think I'm going to focus it on specifically a little bit on networking, because I think that's, where most of us are probably trying to go, how does she do that? Because I don't understand how you're an introvert and you do that. Think about it. There are ways that you can do networking and even passive ways. For example, this right here is a passive way of networking because you and I are networking, but guess what? People are going to see this episode later. They're going to hear in. And so it's another way. So think of the ways that you can kind of show up without showing up. And so I do a lot of that if I can. A lot of people are like, you're everywhere on social media. I see you everywhere. I'm like, yeah, I have tactics for that. There are apps out there that can help integrate and schedule out things for you. So that's, you can do it through the virtual means. There's also different networking events that you can go to virtually. For example, Vets to Industry has one every 3 weeks where you can go. And what I love about that kind of environment is what I call, it kind of creates this barrier-free networking environment, what I call. So, and they're more intimate settings. They're more, they take the large group and they break them down into smaller groups. And so that's also a good way. If you're going to in-person events, there's a few things. First, always bring a buddy. Always bring a buddy. I talked to Lori about this earlier, but I bring a buddy every time I go somewhere just so that I can have a little bit of, assurance. I can kind of get away if I need to. And it doesn't feel awkward if I leave with the buddy. Whereas if I leave alone, I feel, people might think something like, oh, maybe she doesn't want to be approached, but it's not that. And then also, if you're going to a networking event that, other people in your LinkedIn, network are going to, then, and you're seeing them post about it, then say, hey, would love to be able to meet up with you there, maybe even like a coffee. So set yourself up to be able to engage with people ahead of time. And so those are some things I do, but I always find ways, once again, to passively network, which is through these means. And I think people don't understand that there's a lot of ways you can network. It's not just going into an event and no, it's like everything you can do, if you're in an environment where you're meeting someone new, that's networking. It doesn't have, so everybody's definition is different. Everybody's activities are different. So that's how I do it. That's how I'm everywhere all the time, is through a lot of just intimate, smaller group settings and through passive ways as well.
Things like starting a conversation through LinkedIn Messenger is another option of, building that rapport. I think, the way that you and I got to know each other is you put your calendar out there and I'm like, I'm just going to shoot my shot and see if I can get her to talk to me about being on the show. And so, it's one of those things where that was just us one-on-one and we kind of instantly had a good connection. And so I think it's when you get that chance to be one-on-one, whenever you can, even if it's just in a messenger situation, that you might find that a little bit easier than being in a big group and trying to break into a conversation, right?
Exactly. That's best advice, because that's exactly what I do. People that know me know that I'm very good one-on-one. I will put my calendar out there to meet new people. And that way it's a one-on-one engagement. And so, but I have built legitimate friendships, working relationships, professional connections through things like that. It has been very beneficial and has been actually key to my success. So highly encourage those who are introverts to kind of do that. And if you need to take people know too, I fall off the face of social media earth for months at a time sometimes. And people know that's just part of my process. And because I've built such a strong network, they'll actually check up on me while I'm away through, text and so that just shows how much you can build a network while still being an introvert and still coming off as an extrovert when needed, whenever, you got to show up and do things or speak in front of people. And because I know how to pull that off too. But once again, I will be flat out on my couch. So I build that into my schedule, Lori. I build in being a couch potato for 2 days into my schedule whenever I go to an event.
Go to an event and then clear your calendar for the next 2 days so you can sit in silence and read a book.
Yes. And my PJs,
yeah. Yep. Almost like you follow me around after events or something, So, well, thank you so much for sharing those tips with us, because I think there are many of us out there that are like you and I, where we're willing to get out there and engage, but it's not easy for us. And I just want people to know that they can get out and build a network, even if it's not something that's comfortable for them. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for watching the video today. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Did you leave us a comment? Have you listened to the full episode of the podcast on your favorite podcast provider? We sure would appreciate it if you would do all of these things to support us today.